News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Schwartzman. Some of Iran's Gulf Arab neighbors are considering joining the U.S. and Israeli war against Iran if Tehran attacks their critical infrastructure. That's according to several people with knowledge of the situation. The report says that the Gulf's most powerful states, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, are losing patience with Iranian strikes that have already hit ports, energy facilities, and airports, but would only join the war if Tehran makes good on its threats to attack vital Gulf power and water infrastructure. Iran says Gulf states are legitimate targets because the U.S. uses their airspace and territories to attack it. Meanwhile, President Trump says he'll hold off on striking Iran's energy infrastructure for 5 days, citing what he calls very productive talks. Tehran, though, is denying any discussions with the U.S. have taken place, but Bloomberg's Dan Williams reports messages appear to be coming in through intermediaries.
There are indications that one of those countries, Pakistan, may soon be hosting some kind of summit, some kind of peacemaking talks between senior aides to the U.S. president, to Trump, and delegates from Iran. Again, that has yet to be confirmed. And for the time being, the U.S. junior partner in this war, operationally a full partner in this war, Israel itself seems to have been in the dark.
That's Bloomberg's Dan Williams. Israeli officials, though, say the country will continue striking Iran, with Defense Minister Israel Katz saying the campaign, which is in its 25th day, would continue, quote, at full intensity. In response to an ongoing Israeli bombardment, Iran fired missiles and drones at 3 Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv. Iran has set up an informal toll on the Strait of Hormuz, as the country has begun charging transit fees on some commercial vessels, while the mechanism as to how payments are being made, as well as in which currency, isn't yet clear. Payments of as much as $2 million are being sought, with some vessels reported to have already made payments. Some countries, such as India, have objected to the fees, as Iran has shown its influence over the waterway through which a fifth of the world's oil and gas and vast amounts of food, metals, and other materials are shipped every day. Iran has replaced Ali Larijani, the former security chief who was killed in earlier Israeli attacks, by appointing Mohammad Bagher Zolgadar as secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. That's according to Iran's semi-official Fars news agency. Zolgadar is considered a hardliner and veteran of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and has close ties to the feared Basij paramilitary unit. American researcher Dennis Coyle has been freed by the Taliban in Afghanistan after being detained for over a year. The country's Supreme Court deemed the prison term of Coyle as sufficient and decided to release him, according to a statement by the Foreign Ministry on X. The 64-year-old from Colorado had worked in Afghanistan for more than 20 years researching languages. That's according to his family. Latino voters who helped propel President Trump's return to power could be the reason why Republicans lose control of both the House and possibly the Senate. A national poll by Florida Atlantic University found that the economy, inflation, and immigration are the most important issues for Latinos in the U.S. ahead of November's midterm elections. Almost a dozen Republican-held House seats with large Hispanic populations are considered vulnerable in the November midterm elections, with Republican leaders warning the party's coalition is quickly eroding. Trump's deportation efforts have also damaged the party's standing with Latino voters nationally. Despite airlines being hit hard by jet fuel costs surging during the war in Iran, United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby says his carrier is in a good position to weather the storm.
We're carrying triple the cash on the balance sheet that we had pre-COVID. We've moved to the top of the industry in terms of margins, and we have the best credit rating that we've had in over 30 years. And what that does is give us the financial resources to look to the other side of the crisis, to continue investing in airplanes like this, to continue a full speed investing in the future, while we make tactical adjustments in the short term, but have the financial resources that we can look through the crisis to the recovery on the other side.
Even so, United CEO Scott Kirby says airfares would need to go up 20% if oil prices stay high. He spoke with Bloomberg's Lisa Abramovitz from United's Elevated event in Los Angeles. Catch a full conversation on Bloomberg's new video hub at bloomberg.com/videos. Growth in U.S. business activity slowed in March to an almost one-year low, while prices paid for materials and other inputs picked up in the wake of the war in Iran. The decline in the overall composite measure was due to the weakest growth in services activity in nearly a year. Data released Tuesday showed that the S&P Global Flash March Composite Index fell half a point to 51.4. Figures above 50 indicate expansion. Meanwhile, a gauge of prices paid increased more than 3 points to the highest level since May. We check markets all day long here at Bloomberg. The Dow's up 1 to 0.2%. The S&P 500 is down around 0.1%. The Nasdaq is down around 0.5%. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.388%. The 2-year yield is at 3.903%. The price of Brent crude oil is over $104 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate is hovering over $92.50 a barrel. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Schwartzman, and this is Bloomberg.